Hey guys, good morning. You are here with Bubba Da Vinci with Coffee with Bubba. It is 7 a.m. Central Standard Time as predicted. I am on the East Coast. I am in Boca Raton, Florida, um, getting ready to start a epic adventure. Um, I don't believe we're probably going to have anybody on here today. Maybe Farm Don will jump on, but I will probably be doing this to a zero audience live, as everybody that typically watches with me is actually out getting ready to do some events. And so, oh, I already got some people. Hey, how you doing this morning? And so I am not quite sure, in the grand scheme of things, where the day is going to go. And what I mean by that is that we have so many things going on and absolutely no idea whatsoever how this is going to play out. And the reason for that is we've got, and forgive the lighting, by the way. I'm trying to get the background in here, and that's one of the things I'll cover. But there are so many things going on with storms going up the coast and everything else that it's been very unpredictable. I was supposed to be here in Boca Raton yesterday, like 2-3 o'clock in the afternoon. I got in at 2 o'clock in the morning, and I can't tell you how ridiculous that is. Just delays. Some because of weather, because your planes are coming from different locations. I always believed that most planes were turnarounds. So a plane would come in from Boca Raton, Florida, and would be going back out to Boca Raton, Florida. And that is evidently not true, because Boca, and actually you don't fly into Boca Raton. I apologize. You fly into Fort Lauderdale. But the not that many planes come into Fort Lauderdale every day. So my plane was that I had to meet. I had well, I don't want to get into the story yet. I apologize. I'm all over the place. So just travel's been crazy. So and we got a lot going on today, a lot to get set up, and so let's kind of get into it. We have our Olympic numbers for the day. Even though I'm on the road, I'm testing on-road equipment, which is interesting. I hope. Oh, Yi, hey, buddy. Let me see. Yi, can you just tell me? Can you hear me? I don't have a way to test this. I mean, according to this equipment, everything's working, and everybody else on the team is sleeping. So. If maybe you can't hear me. Oh, awesome. Okay. Well, oops. And I put then you hear me. So again, tired. So when I made the announcement yesterday, when I posted, I said, hey, I'll be traveling. This is what's going on. And so I got a couple comments from I think some of Billy Trainers Club's friends that are following now yesterday morning that said, "Are you really going to stream, or are you going to sleep in?" And I almost slept in. So, but let's get to the medals. I really shouldn't be streaming. People are going to think I'm drunk, but honest to God, don't drink. So, or drink very little socially, but. As we've discussed before, but very tired. I'll tell you that for sure. So, okay. Awesome news. Americans did stay in the forefront in the medals. I'm very impressed with them. And I'm actually very impressed that this stream setup is actually working very similar to when I'm doing it back at home. Okay, so here's your numbers. America is in first place with 30 golds, The downside is China is still in second place, but they've tied with 30 golds. Now, I told you this in my predictions, which is looking at what is every day, what is being televised and played and everything else, what the sports are for the day. I usually can kind of give a prediction on, the chances, this country is going to move here, this country is going to move there, this is what's going on. And I had said that, America was on top. It was a 2-medal differential, that America would remain on top as long as they could either stay ahead in the gold medals or at least manage to keep it a tie. And so that's kind of what happened here today, here is that you have the U.S. that's at 30, you have China that's at 30, but the total medal count for the United States has kept them in first place. You have France at 14, so France moved up to third place. Germany or Great Britain moved to Great Britain moved to fourth place. Australia dropped to fifth with 18. Oh, this is wrong. I pulled up the wrong one. I apologize, but the information's right, but the stuff, what I just quoted you was wrong. So United States with 30, China's at second place with 30. Australia is third with 18. What I was just reading to you is I tried to do an Excel spreadsheet that gave me what place they would be in for total medals, and that's what I was reading you. So I apologize. France is in fourth place with 14. Great Britain is in fifth place with 13. Korea is 13th and 6th. Japan is 7th at 13. The most significant part of this is Italy finally dropped out of 8th place. They lost their 8th place slot, which they were at for so long. Netherlands took that with 11. Italy picked up 2 more gold medals for a total of 10, but ended up in 9th place. And Germany in 10th with 9 medals. Total medal count, the United States has got 103, 30, 38, 35. China 30, 25, 19 for 74. See, big gap keeps growing. Australia 18, 14, 13, 45. France 14, 19, 21 for 54. Great Britain at 51 with 13, 17, 21. South Korea 28 with 13, 8, and 7. Japan is at 33, 13, 7, 13. Netherlands is at 25, 11, 6, and 8. Italy's at 30 with 10, 11, and 9. And Germany's at 23 with 9, 9, 5. The good news is that total medal counts were still accurate. The top 10 are the top 10. America is got a good lead on total medal counts. And so if that's the case, the odds are that we will remain on top for the foreseeable future. And I'm okay with that. I'm actually very happy with that. I'll take that all day long. I'll take that all day long. So, news-wise, I'm not going to get into the news. It's just the most depressing thing I have really ever seen. It's just, holy cow. What do you do? That's all I can say. What do you do? The thing I do want to go over is travel. So we're going to be traveling a lot. I'm a hotel freak, and the setup is I'm glad I'm doing this really short first stream. Tomorrow will be a longer stream. Actually, a decent sized one in the morning, and then we'll be announcing what time we'll be streaming live for the Pokemon Go card thing. We'll be making that decision today. But the rig that we have, when you go on the road, it's like, what microphone do I take? Look at the lighting. So the first thing was, right now I'm using a camera on the computer. because the camera that I have, the ones that we are going to use for streaming, which are Razer cameras that has a light on it that allows us to go ahead and see and not have to have a full lighting kit on this, is a USB-A. And all the computers that all of us have, including the two computers that go into our road kits, are USB-C. And we hadn't tested these yet. So the last time we were going to stream at a big event that we were doing, we were using full on. We weren't using small streaming cameras. We were using full on cameras, and so it was going through a box, a splitter box, and so it had tons of connections out there, and that would have gone into the computer, and we were all good. But for the individual kits, apparently none of us actually thought, okay, when we do these individual streams or things like that, we should make sure and check all the connections are good. So the first thing I ran into is these computers have no USB connections. Therefore, my mic wasn't going to work. The mice are Bluetooth, so we're fine there. And the cameras aren't going to work. So today, both your audio and your sound are courtesy of this. Third thing is my headset wasn't going to work. Luckily, this is my personal headset for just listening to music and things like that. It's also Bluetooth, but it came with a cable, and these laptops do have an audio jack, and that works. So you solve the problems as you go. But the headset that I brought, or that's in both kits, is also USB-A. And okay, and we'll talk about the next thing. So cheers, here's my coffee. It is Rise. I had to get hot water downstairs and everything else. I'll go into that next. And so, yeah. So the rig 100% wasn't working this morning when I got up 2 hours ago to kind of start testing things. And I was like, okay, lessons learned. First of all, everything in the world now is USB-C. And so, yeah, not even thinking about looking at the gear, the laptops to make sure they still had a USB type A, didn't even cross my mind. Lesson learned. Luckily, finding a USB to USB-C adapter is not hard. It's just a little piece you put on the ends, and we'll be good to go. We don't have to change any equipment. But not only make sure everything is there in the future, make sure everything is working in the future. So that's my first lesson. But luckily, had my other headsets, was able to adjust everything with the lighting and everything else to get here and get this done. The other thing I'm going to cover over the next couple of days is I'm kind of a hotel snob. And you're going to say, oh, you stay in fancy hotels. Not at all. I have 3 criteria for a hotel. And if you meet those three criteria, the rest of it just can kind of go. Number 1, internet. The Wi-Fi has to be strong enough to do this, right? We do a lot. I do, but most people do a lot of Zoom calls now. You need to be able to download your work, upload your work. Like right after this, I have a meeting on packaging, and I need to be able to stream, see the packaging, do everything. If the internet sucks, I'm probably, well, depends. But I mean, that means I have to go to a Starbucks or I have to go someplace to do it. If I'm lucky, sometimes I can go ahead and link it to my phone if my phone's getting good enough internet. But it's not as good as having good, just good internet in your hotel room. So internet is a big criteria. Unless I know I'm going to a place where internet is bad everywhere, right? And then what you do is you plan your hotel around a internet cafe or someplace that you can get good, viable internet, or you just do your meetings via phone. But you know that. But if I book a hotel and it says Wi-Fi included, and I get there, I expect a minimum of being able to do this, even if I have to pay for it. Because sometimes some hotels, you have to pay $4 or $9. I paid up to $30 for their higher bandwidth, but good internet's a big thing. Secondly is water pressure. I love showers. I'm a shower guy. I work a lot. We run around a lot. When I get back, I want a good high pressure shower. None of this water saving drip from the thing crap. Which ties into my third thing is hot water. It's like after like yesterday, after what was it? Almost 12 hours. Now, it should have taken me 3, but it took me 12. No, that's not right. 2-hour flight to Houston was supposed to be 45 minutes in between, 2 hours there. So 5 hours turned into 15 hours. Okay, there you go. There's the real math. And so instead of when I get in, all I want is a high pressure hot shower. And if you get to the hotel and you get up at 4 or 5 in the morning and you turn on the hot water and you let it run, and their water heating system is not good enough to get you a hot shower, guess what? I'm not happy. And I don't think most people would be, but it's kind of like, okay, this is not what you want. And those are the only things. After that, I don't care. I can have flora and fauna in my room. After that, it kind of really goes downhill. It's as far as my ratings. It's like, does it have a bed? Yep, there's a bed in there. Obviously, if I'm paying $400 a night, I want it to be super clean and everything else. But if I'm traveling to a different country or things like that, I rate it by how many bed bug bites I get. I got 2 bed bug bites. Okay, that's a 3-star. That's a 4-star, right? Type thing. I mean, you have to set your standards. I mean, a Motel 6 can be a great motel if they just do the basics. And if the Wi-Fi they put on there that they say they have is strong enough to do the basics for work, and you can get a hot shower, it's like, woo! It's Vegas. You hardly spend any time in your room. I have people that stay at like things like the Bellagio and everything else, and I always laugh, and it's like, how much time are you in your room? Because when I'm there, we're usually there for events, and I'm spending almost no time in my room. So that's how I judge a hotel. And that's what we're going to be doing along the way. I have a really good rating overall on TripAdvisor because I have a little Word doc that I copy and paste, and I rate all these things. And those are my top 3. And I say my top 3 things here are this, but then I rate everything else. It's like, how easy it was to find the place, how clean it was, did it have linens, blah, 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 blah. But I spend a lot of time in hotels, so I just post that every single time. And people really appreciate when you say there was 0 hot water for 3 days. So it wasn't that I turned on the hot water at a time where everybody else was doing it, but here's what's going on. Or, went to 2 different rooms and the TVs were broken. Not that I watch TV that much, but I will turn it on in the background, like it's actually on in the background right now, and I turn it on the news channel, watching for big stories popping up. But other than that, it's like, a hotel's a hotel. It's a place to lie your head in between doing whatever work you need to do to get done. So, so the second thing, so kind of the hotel met most of the criteria. So the Wi-Fi seems to be working. The first thing I did when I got in, in the wee hours of the morning was test the internet. No one's going to be on. So whatever it was, I should have gotten good, viable internet, ran the speed test, up, down, thumbs up. We're doing okay. Decided I was going to take a shower, jumped in the shower, turned it on, water pressure came pouring out. Test 2. Well, you can't be the water going down. You got to flip the switch and make sure the shower head, because you can have all the water in the world coming down the spout, and then they trick you. And then you go ahead and turn on the thing, and they've got a water-saving shower head, and it just kind of drains down on you. Now, I want it to pummel me. So it wasn't pummel. I mean, on a rating of 1 to 10, I would have given it a 7, because making all the adjustments, moving it to the different cycles, I got it to be pretty good, but it was a semi water saving head. So all that stuff I felt was pretty good. Everything else. Now, I got up this morning and started doing all my stuff and got on, getting ready to get online, found all of my problems, everything else, and went down to get hot water so I could make my rise for this morning, so I can stay on my diet and keep doing things. By the way, I'm super excited today. First day that I can have some solid food. And I have my little whipper, and I went down to ask to get hot water, and there is no hot water. They have the coffee machine or the coffee whatever dispenser, where they pre-make it. It's sitting in there, and you can go through and grab your cup and your drink. So go to the hot water, pour it out, thinking, okay, go upstairs, getting ready to put my powder in, thinking, wow, it doesn't feel very hot through my thing. Put my finger in it, it's cold. So I go, oh, dump it, went back down there thinking maybe I did something wrong. Maybe I went to the wrong one. And says hot water, did it, it's cold. So I said, okay. Well, then they had two that said coffee. So I said, well, I'm allowed a cup of coffee. I'm not going to drink regular, I'll drink decaf because I'm trying to stay away from the caffeine right now. And started it, and I figured I would get decaf coffee and then put my rise in that. So I'm getting some more coffee flavor. I'm still not starting tomorrow after I meet with Billy. We'll go get some of the sweetener he talked about, and I'll test that. And anyway, so I was going to do it with coffee. So put that in there, stick my finger in it. It's cold. Tried the regular coffee. It's cold. I'm like, okay, 3 different ones. They're all cold. So I look underneath, and they're all unplugged. And I'm like, okay, it's about 30 minutes before they start serving breakfast. So I went and told the lady, and I said, so apparently they've been unplugged all night. So she said, oh, and she goes, went to plug them in. And I said, well, you can't, if there's stuff in there and it's been sitting there overnight and it hasn't been heated, you can't just reheat it. You can't just plug it in and let everybody drink that stuff. It's got to be cleaned out, and you got to put it in there. And she gave me and it was kind of like a big deal. And I'm like, okay. So I thought I shouldn't have said anything. And I said, is there a place I can just get hot water? And she said, well, you can go, you have a coffee machine in your room, a little one, and you could just do it that way. And I said, something, you're right, I can. But, I was hoping for like a bigger portion. The kitchen's open. They're in there cooking in the kitchen. Can I go and ask if I can get some hot water from them? Because they'll have the big hot water machine that they get used for cooking and everything else. And she's like, oh, no. They got to get the stuff out there. You can wait until they start and then go and do it. So I said, okay. So I decided I'm going to go sit down, read my emails, and wait for them to open up. And I watch her walk over because there's a mirror in front of me, my table, whole wall mirror, and I have my back to her. And when I have my back to her, I sit down, she sneaks back over and plugs in all 3 machines, but she doesn't realize I can see her in the mirror. And I waited till she left, and then I went and waited till a manager came out. A manager was walking through. She came out of I knew she had gone past us, but she went into the kitchen. I think either to help or to say, hey, we got to get this going, or whatever she was doing. So she came back out, and I said, hey, I just want to let you know your 3 pots were apparently unplugged all night. And I know I got in at 2, 3 in the morning, and I didn't grab anything to drink, but it's now 4:45 in the morning, and I doubt that they got unplugged in between, but your employee just plugged them back in. And I told her that she couldn't do that because A, you're just reheating cold old coffee, and B, you don't know what bacteria built up while it wasn't heated, because the heat keeps the bacteria from building. And she was like, oh, okay, thank you. And she goes, I'll take care of it. And I thought that meant she would unplug them and have someone come and clean them. But what it meant was she was going to go over and tell the employee, this guy complained about you. And so I'm anticipating that I'm going to have a turd in my bed or something like that when I come back this evening, because this gate, I was getting the next 10 minutes while I was waiting for the food ladies to come put all the stuff out. She was glaring at me the entire time, just kind of, and just giving me the stank eye. And I was like, oh, This is horrible. Wasn't my intent for her to say anything to the lady. I was just hoping she'd unplug it, refill those things back up, and then maybe I could even get a cup of hot water from them. So anyway, the other ladies came out. I asked them if I could get hot water. They walked over there and said, "Oh, you can get water from here." I wasn't going to explain a third time that they had been unplugged all night and they just plugged them back in. And A, that's not going to heat the water quickly, and I wasn't going to do that. And B, so I ended up coming upstairs using the coffee pot, and like I was worried about, the coffee pot does not make super hot water. It makes pretty warm to slightly higher than warm temperature water, and it's crazy. So so I made my Rise coffee. And it was warm enough that it was, it wasn't steaming hot. It was good. And I got my little blender thing that I bought off of Amazon to use for Billy and I, Trainer Club and I, to use on the rest of the trip to mixing up the shakes that we're doing. And as soon as I press the button, the little blade on the top of it goes spinning off and breaks. Now, I got it from Amazon. I looked at the box. It's like a third-party company from China. It wasn't like a really big name brand thing. I think I paid $8 for it, but it was like super funny and super crappy. And so I ended up taking the coffee, the powder, and putting the hot water into my water bottle and then just shaking it up in there. So unfortunately, this has clumps in it, but it's already the kind of the experience on how this 15-day road trip, getting from Florida to Hawaii for the World Finals feels like it's going to go. I can't wait to see and on top of that, I got notified that the Jeep that was supposed to be delivered yesterday is not here. The guy said he hit the storms in North Carolina, or in the Carolinas. I don't know where he hit them. He did have to pull over, and he probably isn't even going to be here today. He might be here Saturday morning. So I'm trying to change up everything so we can get the Jeep delivered. I can leave here. I'll rent a car, head up to Orlando, and just try to meet the Jeep in Orlando, which is 3 hours from here. And get that done, because it doesn't make sense for me to stay a whole nother day and then get the Jeep and then drive it 3 hours north to meet Billy on a day where there's the big raids that we're doing, and then we have an appointment at one of the biggest card stores in Orlando to learn to play the Pokemon card game, live on air. So we got a lot of stuff that we have to do today, but without transportation because the Jeep didn't arrive. No ETA officially for the Jeep other than hopefully tonight or sometime tomorrow based on storms and things like that. Since I don't have wheels here, I'm going to be Ubering at every place, but I'm going to have to get either one of those shaker cups or another blender because I have almost 5 pounds worth of powdered product in my bag. Oh, that was another thing. Dan on air predicted and joked around that I should be careful because when he packed the powder that he sent us, the Billy's formula for the hydration product there, he packed it and he wanted to keep it tight without a lot of air. So it's like 2 Ziploc baggies, but it's a smaller Ziploc baggie with 1 pound of this pure white powder in it. And then he taped it and he put it in another bag and then taped it. I'll have to actually put it on camera tomorrow. And it looks like a little bundled bag of cocaine. I mean, it's like that big bundle, super air, without a lot of air in it and tight and everything else and wrapped. And he put tape on it and then gave it to me and I put it in my bag. And I got asked about it. It's like, you have several plastic bags of powder in here. And I'm like, yep. And they said, okay, we're going to need to open your bag and take them out. And I was like, okay. And they did. And they were like, we're going to need to test this. And I said, okay, this one's protein powders and everything else. And it's brown, but I didn't realize, I guess it could have been hashish, like hashish or something like that, or it could have been something cut into the cocaine. And the other one was pure white. And the other one, it's like, I was like, I go ahead, swipe it, do whatever you have to do. And it came up negative. And I said, this one is electrolyte powder, a blend of electrolytes and everything else that we're testing and we're taking to an event and we're going to be do samplings of. And this one is 15 days worth. And the 15-day, that's a big bag. That's not a 1 pound white bag. That's a bigger bag because I had to mix. And we talked about this on the show. It's like, this is the thing that sucks about supplementation on the road. So I had to take enough of this powder that comes in those giant kegs to last me 15 days. And I wasn't going to take those giant plastic containers. So I put it in Ziploc baggies, the little ones that you can pull the air out of, and put them in there and put that in my bag and put that in a bigger bag and then put that in my suitcase. And so I didn't even think that these new scanners at the big airports actually get a good image of everything. It used to be just kind of an outline. If they saw something that was concerning to them, they'd open the bag. But now it's almost like you can see exactly what it is on these new freaking machines. And so seeing two big containers of a powdery substance, though, in the way it was kind of packed, it was like, I see why they wanted to deal with it. And Houston, so this leads into the last part. So the reason I got here late this morning, and what am I at? The reason I got here so late is we had 2 delays because of planes coming in because of the weather. But when my plane came in, the plane was coming in from Costa Rica into Houston. So it wasn't even my plane. The plane that got to Houston that was picking me up and taking me on to Florida was from Costa Rica. So what ended up happening was the plane came in, the people got off, they left, and another group of people came in and went on the plane. And I thought, okay, that's great. They're going to start cleaning the plane. And we were supposed to depart in 30, 40 minutes. Well, then we're looking out the window and we see a whole lot of more people going up the stairs from the outside. And there was an announcement that our plane is being held up for anywhere from an hour till an unknown amount of time because Homeland Security and the DEA have randomly chose our plane to go through to check for, terrorist materials, contraband, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. I'd never heard of this before. I never, ever, ever heard that was something that has ever been done, other than if they suspect someone being there. And then if that happened, I would think they would hold the people that are suspected of bringing drugs into the country instead of letting them go. And I mean, what are they looking for? I don't know what they were looking for. But the guy from United was very adamant over and over and over again to announce on the intercom, this delay is not because of United Airlines. We have zero control of this. At any time, the authorities have the ability to hold our planes and freeze them while they inspect them. And it's being inspected by local authority, DEA, and Homeland Security. But this is a random routine check. Okay. Everybody's kind of looking at each other. Now, I'm looking around because it's funny, from Houston to Fort Lauderdale, which is where I flew into FLL, which is right outside Boca Raton, which is where I'm at. Almost everybody on that plane, that's exactly right, Yi. Luckily, I wasn't on that plane yet, and they seemed to think something was going on with that plane. It was like everybody going to Boca Raton or to Fort Lauderdale apparently spoke Spanish. Like everybody looked like they were either Cuban or someone that was from a Latin American country, and everybody was speaking Spanish. I would have thought that I was going to Mexico as opposed to a city in the United States. And I'm assuming a lot of them are probably Cuban or Puerto Rican or things like that. But it was like, came from Costa Rica, going there. Everybody here is Latino. Maybe it has to be a drug raid. Now, that was me being completely insensitive. And, I'm ashamed that I'm even saying it there, but I definitely thought it. It was like, oh my God, what am I getting into? But this is United Airlines, right? So took 2 hours, finally got off that delay, and then our crew timed out, the one that was supposed to be on our plane. So we had to wait another 2 hours while they got us another crew. So that's the story. I mean, it was just a remarkably crazy trip. I talked about it a couple of days ago, how I think travel is just ridiculous now. I went up and talked to the guy from United, and he said United is very understaffed with pilots. And so it's very hard for them to find a secondary crew. And like the crew that actually took over our plane, they flew them in from another state. So it was a non-working crew. They happened to be like, that's why it took 2 hours, is they had deadheaded. They found them, they put them on the next flight, got them over there, and then they jumped on our plane and took us. There's a solution to this, United. Change the age that they have to be to be able to fly. There's a lot of pilots that have been retired because they met a age criteria, but they'd love to still work. I'm sure. You don't have to mandatory retire anybody or say, okay, you have to retire after this age, and get out there and start recruiting from the military. I know that the method has been they wait till someone gets out of the military and they hope that they apply for the job, and they've done a pretty good job of opening up flight training and paying for flight training for people out of high school. We have a kid that lives in my town who as soon as he graduated high school and he hit 18, he applied, and he's actually getting his pilot's license on American Airlines right now. Through American Airlines. American Airlines is paying for him to go to school to become a pilot. That's great, but that's 5 years, right? That's going to be great 5 years from now. That's not going to do us any good now, and I am tired of all these delays. I mean, I paid good money for a hotel room, and I'm only going to be using it 4 or 5 hours before I have to jump on. Before actually, I'm going to be staying here another night because I don't have a Jeep. But anyway, frustrating way to deal with the world nowadays. But it was a good way to wake up and test the system. I'm going to go ahead and get jumped off here. We have, like I said, I have meetings today on packaging and everything else. I got a lot of stuff that I have to get done. I have to figure out what we're going to do. Tomorrow we will be live. I'll do my morning show in the morning now, which will probably be, again, 30 to 40 minutes. Go over the rules of what we're going to be doing that day. And then we'll be live from a card store in Orlando, Florida. It's one of the largest collector card stores in Orlando, Florida. It might be in the entire state. It's actually it's a store and the warehouse for a company that sells graded cards and card products online. The owner and the manager were nice enough to welcome us to come in there. They have a big tournament. Unfortunately, not a Pokemon Go tournament. I'm not sure what tournament is, which they have several hundred people signed up for. So the place should be packed with tons of card players. And the goal tomorrow is Billy and I will be building our first deck. So we'll be ripping open cards and on air and looking at those cards, building our first decks, and then battling against each other. That will determine if we're giving any loot away from Hawaii. So each day, depending on whatever the criteria that we set of what we're trying to get the viewers to do, we'll either add a limited edition plushie from the Honolulu event into the loot bag, or we won't. But regardless of that, the loser gives away his deck. That's including any hologram cards, reverse hologram cards. We have, like I said, if we get $1,000 card and it's in our deck and I lose, I give it away. And then I have to start the next day. I have to start with a whole new deck all over again, a new strategy. And those decks will go out. Everything will go out from Hawaii. So we'll take the person's information, and then we will box everything up, and then we will send them from Hawaii World Championship, maybe with a couple little things that we can get from the event. And this is building up to where at the World Championship, Billy on air agreed that we, on finals day on Sunday, when the world champ, right between the semifinals and the World Championships, we will play a match on air in which the loser will shave his head. Now, I realize every show that people have seen me on so far, I've been wearing the baseball cap. So someone made a comment that, oh, he's probably already bald. He always wears a baseball cap. I do have hair. And so we will be doing that. We think it'll be fun to kind of have this big buildup and this big challenge. We may throw down some additional challenges along the way as we get from here to Tennessee and Tennessee to Hawaii. And we're right now, we're actually talking to a couple of other content creators that you guys may know. I'm not going to mention their names until they commit, that they may jump in and play us in Hawaii. So we might actually have several really cool matches. Two of them are actually content creators for the card game, and a couple of them are Pokemon Go creators that are also over there. You guys can go look at the number of content creators that are over there for the different games, and you might be able to guess who we may be meeting up on. Some of them are just going on their own, but that might be fun to actually, since I found out a lot of them actually play the game, not to a level that they actually would stream it, but they actually play the game. It might be fun to do like I used to do 15, 20 years ago, which is we do our video game tournaments for Counter-Strike and whatever the games were that we were running at that esports event. And in the evenings, everybody wanted to play poker because the World Poker Tour was huge, and we'd get poker tables set up, and at night we'd all play poker. And so I'm thinking that since we have so many creators that we talk to that play the game casually, that maybe we could stream kind of like a round robin content creator match live on Friday or Saturday night from Hawaii. We'll see. But it's been interesting. People are very interested in what we're doing, and they want to participate and have some fun. And this isn't for hardcore content. This is just honestly for us to have some fun, until we get there and we have to work, right? And so this is our off time type of thing. All right. Well, that's it for today. I'm going to go ahead and go. I need to go get the USB to USB-C adapter, so this isn't so bad tomorrow. Got to find out where my Jeep is. Hey, Farm Don, I'm going to probably be pinging you sometime today or tomorrow to talk to you about travel and a couple of other things. I think I mentioned Farm Don will be meeting the team in Colorado, and I appreciate that, buddy. And that's it. So we will thank you, sir. You work today. I'll do it tomorrow because tomorrow's Saturday. I forgot it's Friday. So, or contact me later tonight, buddy. Thank you everybody for watching. Again, sorry for the kind of all over the place stream. Again, trying to get the equipment to work, and just kind of a big cluster. So have a great day. Thank you guys very much, and we'll talk to you tomorrow. And tune in. We'll look today for the information on the time for the stream. Maybe get yourself some really cool Pokemon cards. All right, talk to you later.